Wednesday, and unusual for me, this is a non-trucking news video. This is a music news video. Why are truckers qualified to comment on music? Well, it's because we're fans. In this case, I'm talking about my fandom of Dream Theater and the Watershed announcement this morning that Mr. Mike Portnoy, their original drummer and founding member, is returning to the fold to begin work with the band on their 16th studio album, which will, I can assume, come out in the spring of 2024. So, very big news in the music industry, and it sounds like it was a decision more like we're going to replace Mike Mangini with Mike Portnoy because we want to get that energy back. We want to recapture the magic of what we had before Mr. Portnoy left in 2010. So yeah, this could be really good stuff musically speaking, because there definitely was a different energy for John Petrucci, the lead guitar player, and then also Jordan Rudess, the keyboardist, when they were recording Liquid Tension Experiment 3 that came out as a result of the pandemic. And then also when Petrucci and Portnoy collaborated on Petrucci's solo album Terminal Velocity, there was a definite difference in the energy there as well in terms of the musicality. So it's surprising that they're making this move now, but also at the same time it's not, because the way Mike Portnoy approaches drums and sound and music and how he fits into the whole dynamic, there is, without question, a completely different animal compared to Mike Mangini. Now, Mike Mangini is a dynamic, incredibly skilled, virtuoso drummer, but it doesn't seem like, even despite being the drummer for 13 years, that he ever quite completely was able to be the drummer for Dream Theater, which is unfortunate because of his absolutely tremendous skill. It also kind of speaks to possibly the band members themselves had a hard time letting go of the idea of Portnoy being their guy. And so, when the opportunity approached, now that kind of seems like Mike Portnoy's other side projects have wound down or have come to a stop, they decided to capitalize on the opportunity while the capitalizing was good. And, put it this way, John Petrucci's been the unquestioned leader of Dream Theater since Mike Portnoy left the band, and really it was Mike Portnoy is more or less the head man for Dream Theater during his tenure, especially coming into the end of the 90s and the early 2000s. But a contributing factor to Mike Portnoy leaving the band is that he wanted to be in a lot of side projects. He also had he took upon himself the onerous responsibility of filling in for Jimmy the Rev Sullivan with Avenged Sevenfold after Mr. Sullivan passed away very suddenly. So, and then he toured with them, and at one point he almost joined Avenged Sevenfold on a permanent basis, but that didn't come about, and the rest is history, I suppose. But still, he left the band as a result of things, thinking that he was going to be heading for Avenged Sevenfold, and that didn't pan out. And then, he was just doing a bunch of side projects. He had Sons of Apollo, the Winery Dogs, and Transatlantic, and he played on another Neil Morse record, I believe. A lot of projects for Mr. Mike Portnoy. So he's been busy the last 13 years. But my question is, as a fan, is that going to be a continuing theme? Is he going to continue to try to be in Dream Theater, run Dream Theater, and then, do 95,000 different projects? Or is he going to really become a musical partner with the band Dream Theater and focus on Dream Theater and Dream Theater's music first and foremost? Or is it going to be trying to run it equally with everything else that Mike's going to want to do? Because that, I think, as a fan, a very rabid fan of Dream Theater, that was a problem because it took away from Dream Theater. And because I'm a Dream Theater fan, I want more Dream Theater. I don't really care about the side projects. person he was before he left Dream Theater originally in 2010. I want to see him be Mike Portnoy, the dedicated drummer for Dream Theater, as a primary role. Because as a Dream Theater fan, again, I want to see more Dream Theater music, and I want to see less of the side projects. I don't mind Liquid Tension Experiment, I don't mind Terminal Velocity, I don't mind Transatlantic, really, but I want to see more Dream Theater, and I want to see Mike focus on Dream Theater in a way he previously did not, but I also don't want to see him running Dream Theater. I want to see him partnering with the band to become a cohesive organism that brings forth transcendental or transcendent progressive metal music. That's what I want. Am I going to get that? Time will tell, but at least for this first album, with Portnoy coming back, this first album, I think we're definitely going to see and hear something that we as Dream Theater fans have not heard probably since Octavarium in 2005. Now, Octavarium was a truly magnificent album. Yeah, Systematic Chaos was great, as well as was Black Clouds and Silver Linings, but something about Octavarium and all those tracks, it's just the sound of it just hits different. It's such a fantastic album. And that title track, Octavarium itself, remains one of my all-time favorite Dream Theater tracks. 24 minutes of pure musical magic. It is a magnificent, magnificent track. And I'm hoping that not quite that, but something where it's just firing on all cylinders and it's just pure creation. That's what I want to experience from this next album with Dream Theater, with Mike Portnoy coming back. And that's what I hope ends up being the result. And I hope there's a collaborative energy, not a my way or the highway energy, because that's my biggest hang-up about this change in the lineup for Dream Theater is Mike Portnoy wanted the band to take a big hiatus in 2010 to go and do other projects, mostly so it seems like so he could go and be an Avenged Sevenfold and then do a bunch of other stuff at the same time and not have the Dream Theater machine occupying everything that he was doing. Now, a lot was said about how when those things didn't really quite pan out, a lot of folks consider that Mike's move to leave Dream Theater at a really good time for the band was not a good move for him personally or professionally. However, considering he's rejoining and considering the different social media posts, interviews, and the way that Portnoy has spoken of the band and how the band has spoken of Portnoy, there's never been any true sign of acrimony or division or dislike or drama as a result of Portnoy leaving in 2010. So in that respect, everyone involved in the situation maintained a very high road routing that I think is going to make this reunion very much more seamless or very much less difficult than it could be, except for poor Mr. Mike Mangini, who now has to find another job, the poor fellow. But then again, you know, considering how fantastic a drummer he is, he will have absolutely no trouble finding whatever work he wants to do, without question. He's good. He's set. But, you know, I don't know. I remain hopeful. I also remain skeptical, which is unfortunate for me as a fan because I've seen Dream Theater live in concert multiple times with Mike Portnoy on the drums. It was always a great show. I've seen Dream Theater in concert with Mike Mangini on the drums multiple times. Always a great show. Dream Theater is always a good show. And it must be said that Mike Mangini did bring a very high level of respect to the catalog he was tasked with replicating and replaying, while it also, perhaps to his detriment, he allowed himself to remain in a box that didn't really let him perhaps flesh out or really show out what he could do as a drummer for Dream Theater. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack and a lot that will be unpacked as time goes on. But suffice it to say, welcome back, Mr. Mike Portnoy. Please don't ruin things. Thank you, Mr. Mike Mangini, for all you did. And as a fan, I wish you very well, and I hope the next chapter of your musical career is even better than your chapter with Dream Theater, because that was some really good music you produced with them, and I'm hoping you're able to produce music at the very least as good, if not better, in the future, because I remain a fan. With that being said, folks, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you